Boogie2988 is a YouTuber that most people are very familiar with. Once known as the Mr. Rogers of YouTube, supposedly, is now known as an extremely controversial figure. From the infamous Reddit thread, the 2K plus page Kiwi Farms thread, and the countless videos made about him, including the one you're currently watching, it is clear that this once beloved figure has enough dirty laundry out there to ruin his reputation. Like, honestly, I think I remember maybe 1 or 2 comments back in the day comparing him to Mr. Rogers. He acknowledged it once.
I'm gonna be the literal Mr. Rogers instead of people call me the Mr. Rogers of YouTube every once in a while.
But that's about it. To be honest, even in his prime, I never really likened him to Mr. Rogers. Like, even if he was a nice guy, supposedly, he still made raunchy skits with Francis and swearing and smashing things, and even if it was acting, it still doesn't feel like Mr. Rogers. How are we supposed to realize that the character of Francis was actually a better person overall than Boogie, though? Kinda surreal. So no, he's not the Mr. Rogers of YouTube. He's basically like BoJack Horseman of YouTube, but like 10 times worse. Okay, maybe not worse, but BoJack's more likable than him. I can at least feel bad for BoJack at times. I at least don't have to second guess how true his childhood trauma was.
Yes, my mother twisted my fucking balls as part of the abuse, and she twisted my balls and my dick, and she told me that sex was disgusting and awful, and she told me that only disgusting, awful people had it. No, my dad fucking masturbated in front of me and showed me pornography and asked me if I wanted to join in and encouraged me to touch him, and I fucking did! I did! I fucking did! I fucking did! I fucking did!
No.
There! Can we be done? Can we be done with it?
I'm sure Boogie had an unhappy childhood, but you really gotta question how true it was, seeing how much the story changed and the fact that he literally fucking lies about everything. But does he deserve it? Yes. Boogie just lost about everything at this point. His marriage, his channel's been losing subscribers for years. He can barely get 20k views despite having over 4 million subs. Well, not anymore, but he also apparently has cancer. Uh-oh. So interesting note, I actually started writing a script about Boogie2988 in December of 2022, but never got around to finishing it. And then I just decided to use parts of the script for this video, so I left in a few remnants of it. And that part, of course, being one of them. And, I guess we all know how the whole cancer thing turned out.
Liar!
Yes, BoogieJack Horseman here actually lied about having cancer. Cause like, who the fuck does that? Something that even the real BoJack didn't do. I guess he did screw over a person with cancer though. Then he tattoos the word liar to his face because I guess that just makes it all better.
You can't keep doing this! You can't keep doing shitty things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay!
But of course, as we all know, Boogie usually has a beard. A beard that will conveniently always be able to cover up the tattoo. Like, look at this shit. This guy is a fucking mess. Just imagine how his ex-wife must feel knowing she got the hell away from this abomination of a human being. Like, there's dodging a bullet and then there's dodging a fucking atomic bomb.
I still have a doctor's appointment in like 16 days. I have to go see my doctor and he's gonna ask what this is about. And I still have this disease and I still have to treat it. I didn't want to do it. I obviously didn't want to do it. I still wish I hadn't done it, except the fact that I didn't want to do it is why I did it.
Yeah.
Because like I fucked up, right? I get it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I learned about all of this is I need to shut the fuck up about my trauma and my history and all that shit. It's played the fuck out.
Holy shit. He made the decision to tattoo himself because he lied about cancer, and yet he's still playing the victim. This guy could run over a whole class of kids with his car and still walk away thinking he was the victim. You know, kinda like how frickin' BoJack plays the victim a lot.
I'm the one who has to live with this shit. I'm the one who has to feel the guilt all day, every day.
So you're the victim here.
Yeah, and I know that's not the woke, progressive, intersectionally appropriate thing to say, but I would say, yeah, I'm the one who has suffered the most because of the actions of BoJack Horseman.
You've suffered.
Yeah, I have.
The most?
The most!
I'm sorry, I mean, there's so many videos about Boogie, I thought doing the BoJack comparison would spice this one up a little bit. Boogie's channel only ever gets views when he makes videos about personal content. But those views are mainly from people who are hate watching or watching his train wreck of a life or getting more ammo for Kiwi Farms or videos on YouTube. It's somewhat disheartening to see, as I personally used to actually be a big fan of Boogie. His Francis videos were hilarious, and I, like many of you, was drinking the Kool-Aid that he was actually a humble, kind-hearted man. Sadly, this could not be any further from the truth. The mega thread ruined a lot of people's views of him, but really a lot of people, myself included, were already heading out the door even beforehand. Not only was Boogie's content taking a huge dip in quality, but it was starting to really annoy me just how spineless this guy would get. His constant fence sitting on Twitter and just him saying the dumbest, most brain-dead garbage imaginable really made me start to have enough of him. This guy's incapability of just picking a side because I guess he doesn't want to make people mad was just annoying. I remember he made a video where he went after the Sam and Toki subreddit, a subreddit that he was responsible for taking down. Like, come on, who else would have done it? And this was a subreddit mainly dedicated to exposing and spreading information about Boogie. Anyways, Boogie made a video responding to the drama, even though he said numerous times, "I'm done with the drama." And in the YouTube comments, there were a lot of people that were telling him, and this was back when he still had some goodwill, they were trying to be nice to him and say, "Hey Boogie, why are you giving these guys attention?" or whatever, or they're telling him to just ignore the drama, ignore the haters, and he'd heart the comments and like them. Like, what the hell? So you made a whole YouTube video of you responding to drama and shit, and then people call you out on that, and then you're hearting the comments. So like, which side are you on, Boogie? If you agree with them, then why'd you make the fucking video? However, Boogie's unlikability goes beyond him being a dumbass, as there is far more deep down than meets the eye. All of his goodwill is gone by now. Even when there was drama surrounding him in the past, there was still supportive people. Even in like 2022, early 2023 when views were down, he still had a relatively positive response to videos, even if he had a lot of hate. But now, every single video he puts up has more dislikes than likes, and it's not even close. Boogie's actions have been heavily archived, and as much as he likes to play the victim 24/7, his wickedness demonstrates a man who is, by all means of our standards of morality, rotten to the core, and one of the most disgusting types of people that we wouldn't want to wish on our own worst enemies. The thing is, Boogie's life is very much like Bojack's. He's washed up and a has-been. He constantly lives with addiction to self-destructive behaviors. Bojack was an alcoholic and a drug addict. And yes, Joe, I can finally say that word right, you cheeky asshole. With Boogie, he has a clear addiction to food. It's kinda crazy to think that he was legit doing pretty well with the weight loss at one point. He was losing a reasonable amount of weight a while back. Maybe not on the level that Nick Avocado did, but still there was some progress. And then he got gastric bypass surgery and it seemed like he was in the home stretch. He even made the inspiring video where he drank his last ever Mountain Dew, but instead of drinking it, he just dumped it out. God, even in his good videos he was fucking lying. The point is, it seemed like he was finally going to be at a healthy weight. Well, it's been like, what, 7 fucking years? And not only is he still fat, he may possibly be just as fat, if not fatter than he was in the past. He's back to being over 400 pounds. He never got past the root problem, which was his food addiction and dependency to eat food when he's sad. He even admitted it.
What I'm not doing is I'm not cutting back on what I eat, because food makes me happy and I want to be happy right now. So I'm eating some of the foods that I shouldn't be eating because I like being happy, because I'm struggling with my mental health right now, and food helps me with that.
I get food makes you happy, but goddamn, would being not 400 pounds make you happier? I think you would get much more fulfillment out of finally being healthy over a 3rd pack of fucking Oreos every day. Oh, and apparently he was caught drinking Mountain Dew like, what, a week after making that video too? So fuck you. I guess that's why Dr. Now on My 600 Pound Life doesn't give people the surgery right away. He needs to know that they're not gonna go back to gorging on unhealthy shit. That being said, at least the people on the show have enablers, so I mean, when I watch that show, I almost hate the enablers as much as I hate the fat people. But with Boogie, he's the one buying this shit. Bojack at least actually became broke by the end of the series, but Boogie, I mean, he says he's broke, but I don't even really believe him. He claimed in the documentary about him from over a year ago that he was basically about to become homeless. 1 year later, and he's still living in his mansion surrounded by expensive shit. He still regularly travels a lot in his newer videos too. My favorite scene in the documentary is when he's listing off all his financial problems while sitting in front of several arcade machines that are all using electricity while acting completely dumbfounded on how to make money to pay his bills. For fuck's sake, he has spent thousands on hookers and cryptocurrency. I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands.
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch. It was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up. You and your pride and your ego. You just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now.
I liked the documentary and all, it was good, and obviously there were plenty of parts that were just screwing with Boogie and really kind of calling him out on this stuff that he's doing. There was even a scene where the director was afraid it's too depressing to even release. But despite all that, I still feel like the doc is just a bit too sympathetic to him at times. Honestly, if it had come out a year later after this whole cancer thing, it probably would have been even less sympathetic. Like, did Boogie manipulate old Mike Klum here too? Joe, I know his last name is one letter more than cum, okay? I beat you to it.
Aww, way to take the fun out of it.
Oh yeah, and the hookers have their own horror stories about the guy.
I guess you could say that even the hookers didn't get off easy.
Okay, that was actually a good one.
I do regret to say that I slept with Boogie 2988. Overall, the experience, and I don't mean to fat shame or anything, but there was rules upon rules upon rules, and it took me a lot of time to find a stick. I am now married with 2 kids, and sleeping with Boogie is one of the reasons I quit sex work.
God damn, is that not the biggest confident boost or the most crushing blow depending on the context? He's had so many problems with people, and his ex-wife most likely had it the worst. But guess what? The fucking walrus made her sign a goddamn NDA. You can't prove he didn't abuse her. Sure, an NDA could mean anything, but you can't prove it. I'm telling you, everything that's gone on has been twisted and turned. And no, I'm not saying physically, I mean emotionally. Boogie gives off the impression that him and his ex-wife just didn't work out and split apart without any animosity, and are in fact still on good terms with one another. However, I beg to differ. This is no more evident than when he called his ex-wife on stream one time.
Oh boy, here we go.
What do you want?
Hey, it's good to hear your voice. It's been a couple.
Just those 4 words with that tone of voice tells you everything you need to know. Boogie's current girlfriend. This 28-year age difference between Boogie and his girlfriend is certainly interesting. It doesn't help that she still looks like a teenager. However, doesn't she kind of look a bit like a younger version of Boogie's ex-wife, Des? Doesn't help that they have a similar name. And by similar, I mean that Boogie just calls the new girl Des too.
What are you disappointed about?
Well, I didn't know we had the freaking daycare brigade hanging out with us today. She couldn't even get into local
What are you talking about?
She couldn't even get in. She's not 21.
It's actually true. They would not let her into the barbecue joint because she wasn't 21.
Do they have kids' meals at this place that we're gonna
Hey, I get enough of that from the internet, Eric. Sheesh.
Believe it or not, this is also very similar to something that BoJack Horseman did. In Season 2, BoJack lives with Charlotte, a woman that he had feelings for in the past, but she now has a husband and kids. BoJack builds a bond with her daughter Penny, which unfortunately leads to her having feelings for BoJack despite her being a teen and him being an adult. BoJack attempts to make a move on Charlotte, but of course is rejected. He runs into Penny again and turns her away, but conveniently leaves the door open. He is later caught almost sleeping with Penny. As soon as Charlotte wasn't an option, BoJack tried to go after what he believed was the next best thing. Just as how Boogie sees this girl as almost a replacement for his ex-wife, because come on, that's clearly what's fucking happening here.
Growing up without a father figure has its challenges.
Oh, well, that actually explains everything.
Like, you just don't have that support system that you would and the advice that you need. And so it's just difficult. I don't ever want to be alone. That's another thing. Maybe that's why I have stuffed animals. I don't ever want to be alone. He's not manipulating me. I love him for him. He doesn't control me. We're a team. He supports me.
Yeah, he's not manipulating me, I swear. Like, how could I not fall in love with a morbidly obese 50-year-old who is an online pariah?
Boogie Jack here is just dragging everyone down with him. His fans who gave him money that he wasted on hookers and crypto. His friends and fellow YouTubers who seem to associate with him less and less over the years until this guy literally starts hanging out with fucking Wings of Redemption. Like seriously, Boogie makes Wings look tolerable. That should say a lot. And finally, he's bringing down this girl to her early 20s with him too. Talking about how if he dies, it'll ruin her life or whatever. Like, if anything, that could be the best thing that could ever happen to her. And I don't feel bad for saying that, because this fat ass could have prevented this. It seems to me like he basically wants to die at this point.
I want to die! That's the thing! Over and over and over again! I hate being alive! I hate being alive! I hate breathing! I hate being alive! I'm in tremendous pain! I'm in tremendous pain! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Wubba lubba dub dub!
That's real nice. He thinks him dying will be devastating to this person that he supposedly really cares about, and yet makes zero attempt to change his lifestyle. Yeah, Dez, Boogie really loves you, but he loves eating fast food and drinking Mountain Dew a hell of a lot more. She's literally wasting her life with this sinking ship of a person, the best years of her life too. And for what? Because he's a master manipulator. He thinks he's prey, but he's a predator.
You lied! You manipulated everything, as always!
I'm such a nice guy. I had a bad childhood. Feel bad for me. I don't deserve this. Where? I fell for it too. And I've never even met the guy. Just through his YouTube videos, I actually fell for his nonsense. Just like how millions of others have. Just imagine what he could do to a vulnerable person who he basically has complete control over and lives with him and is in his presence basically 24/7. It's scary, honestly. I can only hope she either wises up and gets away from this sentient black hole, and maybe she'll be able to recover from this. She'll still have to live with the fact that she had a public online footprint of her associating with this vile man. Also, if you hate Boogie or are starting to hate Boogie from watching this, just remember, he literally thinks the people who criticize or hate on him are worse than rapists and Nazis. He even claims he'd rather be raped again than deal with it. I wonder why people question your traumatic backstory, Boogie. So that's about it for now. This guy has mega threads about him and all kinds of other videos, including the documentary. I just thought it'd be interesting to compare him to Bojack. Now you might say, Boogie is just how you view Bojack without the show, and it's kinda true. With Bojack, we get a glimpse to his thoughts and feelings and memories. We get a more personal view of him over Boogie, so you could argue if we got to know Boogie on a more personal level, maybe we'd empathize better. That being said, he gives us hours and hours of footage of his life and talks about himself in extensive detail. It's nice to think that maybe there's a side of Boogie that we'll never know. But I know the facts, and the facts are that Boogie is an emotional parasite and just a scumbag human. I mean, is his life really like that bad? Like, he lives in a gamer's paradise, a mansion with any game and toy you can think of. Like, he's clearly got money. I'm not doubting one day his financial troubles will truly bite him in the ass, but like, this dude lies every time his mouth moves, so I'll believe it when I see it. He's losing subs out the ass and viewers too. He doesn't have to work a real job, he just makes low effort videos. I don't even know if he even edits half these. Boogie, you're not going back to the good old days. Those days are over. You are never getting back to 4 million subs. You will keep bleeding them more and more. Now granted, he has a lot of health problems, years of regret and pain. Well, I guess it depends if he actually feels bad about the stuff he did. Bojack did, but would learn that just feeling bad isn't enough. At the end of the series, he supposedly will try and turn over a new leaf and make the most progress he can at that point. Boogie, however, just refuses to learn any goddamn lessons at all. I mean, the fact that he seemed to think the best course of action from lying about cancer was to tattoo liar on his face and throwing money at a charity somehow makes up for it is fucking stupid. Why the fuck is Mr. I'm so broke I need your help suddenly throwing money at literally anything? It's easy to say his marriage and declining career is what broke him, and I do think that at least played a big role in him flat out giving up on the weight loss, but really, he was always like this. I guess Boogie didn't learn anything, but we certainly can. Never put faith in some asshole online. You can only see what they're kind of like. We may be seeing another example of this with the Mr. Beast situation, depending on how that ends up playing out. How do we even know he was telling the whole truth about his girlfriend? How they met? How old she was when they met? I already told you I question his child abuse story. Obviously we know he lied about cancer, and a 50-year-old 400-pound guy is bound to have health problems, but for all we know he's exaggerating shit there too. I can't believe a word this asshole says. He's a dishonest, dirty person. Don't give this guy your money. Don't even watch his channel with ad blocker, just stay away from it. He's had too many chances. He's had too many benefits of the doubt. Just let him rot away in the landfill of his own choices. I guess it goes to show that just like how Bojack refused to take accountability and accept that there's only so much "I'm an addict, I had a bad childhood" sob stories to justify his awful behavior, Boogie too needs to learn that he's the person he is. Every time he tries to improve, he takes like 8 steps backward in the process. And by now, he's just solely taking steps backward. Me comparing you to goddamn Bojack Horseman and kinda thinking more favorably towards Bojack is not a good sign, Boogie. There's only so much sympathy in the world, Boogie, and you've exhausted mine and many others. Also, as a YouTube guy, you're perfectly allowed to not feel empathy for someone else if they have more views and subscribers than you. I think that's in the TOS. So fuck you, Boogie. I'm not feeling bad for you anymore. You suck.
Told me before I made this decision, I needed to really think about it. So this is going to allow me to forgive myself. Now, if anybody else decides to forgive me, that's great too, and I hope some of you do, but, you know, this is about just like feeling better about myself, because I felt like about this, man. I feel so bad.
Was me and my wife's relationship perfect? No. Did we argue from time to time? Yes. I think most couples do. Did I ever stand and scream in her face about fucking, you know, tell her I wish she was fucking dead, or, you know.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead!
Hey, she died of 39 of like fucking lung cancer. She had breast cancer and they beat the breast cancer, but then the treatment for the breast cancer gave her lung cancer.
Oh my god, that sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, bro.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. I mean, I didn't go through it. I'm still alive. She's dead.
Damn. That's brutal.
Yeah. I'm serious. You know, she like, why do I get to complain? She's the one that has to be dead. You know, fuck.
And I would never lie about cancer.
Okay.
And it's
you would never lie about it? You don't even
would.
it.
It's fucking
I 100% believe you're not just lying about this, but everything else.
100% chance I'm proving a goddamn thing to your dumb fucking ass.
Yelling isn't proving anything. Yelling doesn't improve anything.
I fucking hate myself every second. Because I'm a piece of shit. Have you not read the fucking internet?
The internet's not always right. Like,
they are. They fucking are. They fucking are. I am a piece of shit. I am human garbage.
You're a real stupid piece of shit. But I know I'm a piece of shit. That at least makes me better than all the pieces of shit who don't know they're pieces of shit. Or is it worse?
Back in the noughties, I was in a very famous YouTube show. But with Boogie, he's the one buying the shit. The blame is on him. But with Boogie, he's the one buying the shit, so the blame is on him. That's another...